I can tell that Hippo has gonorrhea.
Like, oh yeah, this Bengal
Don't
tiger
ask
had
me
to get
how I got
surgery
it.
last week or whatever. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that reviews every single video game movie under the sun and beyond the stars. My name is Ethan, and with me here, one last time, in his final episode, Devin. How's it going?
I'm your Huckleberry.
I don't know
That's
what the
not
fuck
it.
that's from. And pushing me out of the way as the sniper bullet is about to sear through my skin and into his instead, David. How's it going?
What?
Here we go.
Dang, I thought you were gonna give me your
No.
Daisy if you do or something back at me, but
Yeah, I'll be
trying to do a
honest.
bit
Well,
there.
I was thinking about that, but I just thought it was funny that I started to write a quote and I wrote the word "what" and then I never finished writing it down.
Nice.
Nani?
Nice.
So I don't know what that was gonna be, but
Well,
Some
and
Yeah,
part of
I
the
was
movie.
airplaying the movie from my phone onto the TV, and then I couldn't, so I didn't take any notes, and I was working at the same time, so it was kind of tough for me to take
Allegedly.
notes. I guess I could take notes. I got on my laptop, but you know,
Okay. Folks, we watched well, you can see it was on our draft pick before Devin's first pick. Last Order Final Fantasy VII, an OVA original video animation based on Final Fantasy VII. We watched that
I've
for
heard of it.
today's episode and came to a realization and made a judgment call. But this episode will be going unaffected through that. Essentially, on the show here, we rank every single video game movie. And what that means is we have a gigantic spreadsheet of every single video game movie. There are broadening definitions of what that means. There's been a lot of TV shows based on video game movies, and I have a list starting on some of those, but that's not what our focus is anytime soon. Maybe when we run out of movies, we'll hop over to all of the anime that's been made out of some of these games. Who knows? Who can tell? But we have this gigantic list, and like I said, there's a large range of a theatrical live-action movie to an OVA. Sometimes it's a collection of mini-sodes that have been strung together as one viewable product. Sometimes it's a bonus feature, a part of another movie. And so that is what happened with today's episode. So I put Last Order Final Fantasy VII. I put it on the master list. It's his own thing.
no,
I
put
was
it on.
No,
I put
I'll
it-
step up and say I.
We all did it together. Although I'm the one that makes the spreadsheet, so I guess I'll take the bullet here. No, I put it on that list because I was under the assumption, based off of research I had read, not trying to watch any of this stuff to spoil things for myself. That's gonna maybe have to change a little bit going forward. That this was a standalone product, meaning that you could go to a Blockbuster, which existed in 2005 when it came out. To be fair,
Great year.
and you can pick it off the shelf and be like, I will watch this singular thing, regardless of the context of the video game it's from, regardless of the context of anything a part of this franchise, film, TV, otherwise, that came before or after, and I can take this thing, watch it, and that's what these reviews are. We have made sure that that's been a consistent thing. We're like, yeah, we watched last season the Fatal Fury anime OVA. Even though that kind of really needed to have the context of the video games itself, too bad. Someone could buy that, someone could watch that, and that's what our reviews are based on. Having knowledge about the video games certainly helps, and it makes it more enjoyable, and especially for us that maybe like some of these games, but that's not a necessity. Last Order Final Fantasy VII, I assumed was like that. Fortunately, Last Order Final Fantasy VII was, and maybe extra bonus feature is a little reductive. It had a 6-month animation time from a studio. Like, they made it as a thing, but it was only ever a part of the DVD release of Advent Children, the Final Fantasy VII movie, which Devin and I did a review on many years ago at this point. that's one of the movies I feel like at some point we might revisit. I have a small list. I've expressed that with Devin as well. Of like, these are movies David hasn't seen. Maybe we do some sort of rewatch of some of the hits, high or lows, just hits. This Last Order 25-minute OVA is a part of that experience. You are buying Advent Children off the shelf. You are watching Advent Children, and then you are looking through the other things on that disc. You are not buying Last Order.
Assuming you liked it.
Assuming you liked it, yes. And we liked Advent Children. We just thought it was very boring, I think, was our takeaway. It was like, man, this could have been a lot more. So had we known that Last Order Final Fantasy VII was not a standalone viewable experience, no one in their right mind is buying Advent Children and not watching that, and instead watching something that might be listed in the extra features, right? No one in their right mind is going to do that. I would say that that's a bit unfair to that product. We would not have put it on the list as a thing to watch. Might have had it in a separate context, maybe not in a draft like this, standing alone with theatrical films like Werewolves Within, or straight to video or streaming production films like Doom Annihilation. This might not have been in that context, but alas, it was placed in this context. Devin chose it, unbeknownst to him, David, who's down there, or myself, that was the case. And we've made the decision to continue with that. Devin really pleaded with us to let him pick another film, but David and I stood strong, and we said, no, motherfucker, you're an adult, and you make decisions.
No matter what.
No, it was the opposite, actually. We were like, Devin, if you want to pick something else that was on the draft, you can. We feel bad. I feel bad. But
I just said it's like, in any sports draft, sometimes things pop up, and there's nothing you could do about it. Or maybe they just hope nothing will pop up about it. But the way Ethan be talking made it sound like this movie was on like the Epstein email.
I was gonna make that joke at
the
end.
Flight logs.
Well,
unfortunately, we found out this movie was doing things, and yikes. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it in a bit. But this also, because this is a bit of an extra, regardless of the intent on how it was made, it was an extra part of a larger Final Fantasy VII thing. It is presented like you are already a fan of this thing because you bought something else, and this is included with it. And so parts of that, we're not going to be able to, unfortunately, fairly treat it like we do the other things, because it isn't made like that, unfortunately. But putting all that aside, Devin, David, and myself watched this. We are going to review it.
We did.
We're going to give it a score like normal. Devin is going to get points for it. I mean, he can't lose points, so he will definitely get points.
Thank God.
And then we move on with our lives and make sure next season this doesn't happen again. So,
or else there'll be a strongly worded email from
Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer, if he's still relevant in a year.
Well, in a year, he won't be primariable because he's at 2028, so he's okay.
Like how David says he's a big fan. I just imagine him be like, I love the Sonic movie show. And we will fight to make sure we can continue to listen to it.
I'll take all that APAC money for this podcast. We don't do anything that would affect global change. I'll steal their money from them. Who cares? And maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll buy a big pizza with it. Devin.
Oh.
This is a movie based off a video game called Final Fantasy VII.
So I've heard.
So you've heard. We go around the horn. We talk about our thoughts on the film, but first we just make sure we get the audience acquainted to our familiarity with the video game property it's based off of. So Devin, have you ever heard or have seen, maybe even touched, a Final Fantasy VII or a Final Fantasy?
Man, I'm trying to think long and hard. If I'm not mistaken, I actually got for my birthday this year from myself Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I played like 6 hours of it because it wasn't what I thought it was, and I was like, fuck me. I want my money back, low key. I've played Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and liked that. It was not as open worldy as the second one seems, well, at least to where I played. I was like, no, I don't got this time. All right, I needed a streamlined hand-holding experience where I fight Sephiroth every 20 minutes. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, all things considered, no, I played Final Fantasy VII Remake is the only one I've played like to completion. I think you gave me Final Fantasy 10. I always forget the Roman numerals on that one on Switch, and I've started that twice.
Okay, that's my favorite one too. Really makes me feel happy that you got that far.
I played it and then I didn't touch it, and I was like, oh, I don't remember where I left off. So let me start again. And that was when I had COVID, so I was like, I'm kind of dying over here. Let me just give me something to occupy my brain with, because historically, what's helped me when I'm sick is actually playing video games, not watching TV. It's like I need to do something engaging to tire myself out. But I know about the Final Fantasy, like kind of loosely general history from you, Ethan, and from other folks. I know the Cloud. We've watched. If anything, I probably played more or watched more of the movies. I feel like that we like collectively maybe than game played outside of Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I know about Cloud. I've always liked the kind of loose politics of it, I guess. Especially Final Fantasy VII in terms of not the Sephiroth story, but the whole like Shinra kind of story, and how like find it kind of relatable to our real worlds where, you know, corporations are destroying the planet and no one is doing anything about that. Especially not Chuck Schumer. But
and Hakeem Jeffries.
He's Hakeem Jeffries. God damn it. But yeah, that's my experience. I kind of respect Final Fantasy. Not all the games are my type of games, but I think they're kind of cool that there's like, they're not all connected. Like there's, 7 is 7, 10 is 10, and all that. Like there's like, they have some similarities between each other, but they're kind of their own separate things. And I think that's kind of cool. That's what I feel like Star Wars should do. They should just start being like, who gives a fuck? Yes, there's sometimes lightsabers, sometimes not. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Yeah, sure, Han Solo's alive again because he's cool. Whatever, yeah. Final Fantasy.
Okay, David.
I've only played the one that me and you played for, I don't know, maybe 5 hours.
That you were supposed to finish.
Which was Final Fantasy VII. I just looked it up. It was Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
The PC and PS5 version, yeah.
It was fun when we were playing it. I think if you were over here, I would maybe play it, but it's just, I just have other games that I prefer to play more than those types of games. That's also probably why I've never really purchased those types of games before. But same as Devin, I kind of know the series generally. It's like the series that I picture where I'm like, oh, there's a guy with an enormous sword. Like, that's pretty cool. That's what I always picture when I hear Final Fantasy, is like the cleaver knife sword. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Final Fantasy is one of my favorite franchises. Yeah, like Devin said, every single main numbered entry is its own universe, its own thing, its own completely separate story, characters, all that. I guess you can call that an anthology, but I feel like anthology implies short things, and these are all long games. I've always loved that each of the main games has completely different combat systems, different ways of doing an RPG. They did a lot of the same similar kind of turn-based stuff early on. Then they went into a more less straight-up turn-based, into more every character has a bar that fills up at different speeds, and then they immediately go, you better be on the ball, to Final Fantasy X, which is my favorite, was strictly turn-based, but you can see the upcoming turn order, and it's about manipulating that. And like the way that level up system in that game was awesome. You didn't actually have levels. You moved your characters around like a giant game board like system to get stat and abilities, and they can all be kind of whatever. That way. It was cool. 11 and 14 are two very different types of MMO. 13 was like a Twitch-based, turn-based game. That's kind of like what Clair Obscur is apparently like. 15 was real-time in a more loose button-mashy way. And 16 is a Devil May Cry. And then 7 Remake is real-time, but also has a lot of prep and planning ability stuff in it that isn't just combos and stuff like that. It's more
Not unless I'm
RPG.
playing it.
I mean, they also give you the option of literally having the game pause between actions to make it more like a turn-based in that sense.
I just went in, I'm like, nope, this is my one strategy. If it better fucking work.
yeah. Final Fantasy VII is the most famous of these games. It was like at one point the most important video game in mainstream culture, in the mid to late 90s. I was certainly like that fucking game. Like, we don't really get games like that anymore because there's just too many games in general, and gaming has spread in so many different ways that there really isn't just like, holy shit, have you seen this game? That doesn't really happen anymore. But not even like that though, because that's a different audience than like gaming was like one audience, it felt like back then, if that makes sense. But 7 is a great story. This thing we watched today is like a very important part of that story that has no context for the rest of the game, but they expect you to have that context because it was such a cool moment. It's a very cool moment in that game story. And like you said, Devin, like there's politics in it about, we are literally killing the planet. The energy we are making is literally the planet's life, where we all go when we die, and we're using that for energy as a commodity. I think it's kind of crazy that in this post 9/11 world, the game opens up still saying our heroes are terrorists set to destroy parts of a city to save the planet on that kind of mission. I still think that game opens up in a very like, bam, you are right in the middle of a terrorist mission. You are doing this shit. There is no build-up. You'll get that build-up later on what's going on. I still think that's cool. That's one of the coolest openings I've seen in a video game.
He comes off the train.
Yeah, you're just in it, like, right away. You're go do the thing. But even beyond that, like, in what Rebirth covers in the remake trilogy, as well as obviously the main crux of Final Fantasy VII itself, story-wise, putting aside all that politics, it's about what happens when, someone dies suddenly, instantly, and how you move on, what your feelings are, how do you reconcile like who that person was. That was like a very like it became the big famous video game because RPGs didn't do a thing where you could have spent dozens of hours with one character grinding them up just for them to get killed in the story no matter what you did anyway, and have that be a very beloved character. It was very cool. So that's also why that sticks with a lot of people more so than any of the other Final Fantasies afterwards, even as well. Although 10 was like a 7 to a different generation. I think our generation kind of grew up within that kind of orbit. 10 on PS2. But yeah, I love that franchise, and I've talked too much. So Devin, what did you think about Last Order Final Fantasy VII? A game, by the way, this is the original Final Fantasy VII here. A game that is kind of like a precursor to what they would do on PSP with a prequel story starring the dude in this thing, the black-haired guy, Zack. They would make a game about him, and this thing is basically the ending of this game, but retcons a lot of it. But what did you think, Devin?
Well, first I just want to say none of this would have been possible. You're pulling games from the side here.
I knew exactly what you were gonna do. You want me to grab my Sega Bass Fishing? I can grab that too.
I mean, that's up there. People say it's like there's 3 games. Dino Crisis 2, then it's Sega Bass Fishing, and then of course,
we said Gran Turismo.
We forget? In Gran Turismo. I mean, like, those are the 3 games that people talk about. Ethan was giving a history lesson, but it was more of a opinion piece. But everyone knows it's those 3 games I just mentioned. But yeah, so I drafted this with the intention of typically we love to, if the movie is going to be bad or just fine, the shorter gives us the better. It makes it a higher chance for a ranking to be maybe go up a grade. Maybe a C tier video game movie if it's 25 minutes. We're like, you know what? It was pretty solid. Maybe it gets it to a B. Maybe there's an argument there. We'll get into rankings later, but I drafted this with the intent. I'm like, you know what? I hate to draft animes or cartoons this high in the draft. First overall pick, despite everything that Ethan said earlier. I drafted with the intention. I'm like, you know what? This draft class this season feels like it feels like it could go anywhere. I feel like it could be a lot of bad, could be a lot of good. We don't know. We don't have outliers where we're like, oh, Tetris, oh, Gran Turismo. Those are got to be top of the draft board. I really didn't get that inclination from our draft class. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I got to play it safe at the top pick. I got to go with something short and hopefully sweet. If it's all right, like I said, maybe I get a C because it's just short. Maybe if it's bad, maybe it'll still be a C. You know, like we don't know. You know, maybe we can bend the rules a little bit. I know the history. I know David doesn't like anime, but I'm like, maybe I can just pull him in with the 25-minute. Actually, if you remove the credits, it's 21 minutes of
yes.
film. All right, that we can work with here. And I say all this that I am greatly disappointed. One, in my first overall pick. You know, we draft first. Like I said, you know, it feels like a crapshoot. I still draft first with confidence, and I'm very disappointed with this pick. You know, this pick is not showing up to practice. This pick is talking big shit for a big name, and I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it because I guess I don't know its full story. I didn't know its childhood or its future adult life because I'm missing context. Luckily, I know some of the context from our conversations and have playing the games and knowing that. But it does try quickly at moments to give you some context for some of the characters, but not the story. Because the guy, that one guy is going through the file, be like, oh yeah, this guy, I remember him. And he kind of says a quick one-liner. It's almost like a refresher for someone who maybe hasn't played the game in a hot minute. But as a general audience member, I don't think it works. Because even I was like, okay, but why do we care? Why do we care about this Sephiroth guy outside? He looks kind of cool. He has a big sword.
Video games is Darth Vader. Effectively.
Right. It's like, okay, Darth Vader is in here, but why? Why is Darth Vader doing this, right? The animation itself, or the actual drawing, I think was pretty decent though, all things considered. But it did feel like I'm watching, like I just tuned into a random, like it's episode 106 of a 5-season series, story-wise. Like I said, it tried to give you some quick little tidbits for the characters, but there's no like context of when it is taking place, when is this happening in the main story. If you've never played Final Fantasy, even if Ethan said it, this wasn't an extra on a DVD. If this was like a standalone thing, I feel like there's not much to work with here. Right. And I kind of was just, the action was kind of cool, but it was so fleeting and felt like once again I didn't know what the stakes were really. I feel like they were trying to show you it because you already knew some things. I see the town's on fire and you follow Tifa to go stop Sephiroth. Does she get killed? No, but like he could have and didn't, but whatever. And then Cloud appears, or Zack is there, and then they fight, and that's kind of cool for a little bit. Then he gets defeated though, and then Cloud's there and they fight for a little bit, and it just feels very like, okay, we're just going through this. And I feel like that can only carry you so far. Like if this was a cartoon on Sunday morning, great, fantastic episode. But for unfairly, I'm trying not to put it too much because we just mentioned how Ethan mentioned there. I'm trying to put too much in this, but as like its own standalone thing, I still gotta grade it how I'm grading the other things. It's just kind of like, what? I feel like this is a TikTok. Just like, give me the dopamine hits of the action, but like, what are we doing here? I'm watching guys doing prank videos. Who are these guys? Like, that's that's kind of where I'm at with this.
You know what? You're saying that reminds me.
I feel like I've seen this Mr. Beast guy before, but I don't know any, like, who's his other people. Like,
back
who are
like
these guys?
15 years ago, you would see on YouTube a lot of people doing fan edits of anime of like all the awesome moments of characters and like
that's what this felt like.
I love this character so much. Here are all of their highlights. Like that's in a way, honestly. Yeah,
this movie, like if you just got the fighting scenes and put that in one of those montages, and all the audio levels would be all over the place. You'll have one that's really loud, one really low, and then there's like I don't know, like a song from Bring Me the Horizon or something playing like in the background. It would I can see what you're talking about, Ethan. That's what this felt like. I don't know like where to really go else outside. I have no real strong opinions because I was kind of just I was like, okay, cool, but like also like, okay, why should I care about any of this really if I'm not? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
David.
Yeah, I mean, I had pretty much the same thoughts as Devin. I don't have any unique thoughts really to share other than that.
Oh, you're a very unique person. I cherish all your thoughts.
Thank you, Ethan. I mean, I was just like bored, not out of, it was weird because it was like a boredom from my brain being like, I don't know anything that's going on. I'm just checking out because it's clearly I'm not going to understand.
Yeah.
And so like to be clear, I watched Doom and then this immediately after, and hopefully you already watched that review, but Doom was a little bit boring to start with. So after this, I was like, ooh, like starting to doze off. So, I mean, it was the art was fine. I don't know. This felt very much like animes we've watched in the past. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to constantly bring up that you were supposed to have more context, but like other animes we've watched, it's like they just don't give you enough context for some reason. That's just a thing they do because I guess people who are watching these are super fans, and so they don't feel they need to give context sometimes. Not necessarily the case here, but that's sort of what it felt like before I knew that. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else really.
I feel like I'm ranking the music video that we did for Vin Diesel with
I mean, it's nice that it was
Charlie
short,
Puth,
but it's like I almost feel like at a certain point you start to lose like points again when you get too short, because it's like, okay, well, you needed to add more time actually to
add the context. Yeah.
So it's like a fine line, and obviously I know you're memeing about like the shorter it is, it's like the more points you're gonna get. But
yeah, if it's 2 minutes, you win.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll provide the context as brief as I can, just because it's important to my point here, because I was disappointed in this having the context. All right. This is extremely a cool like sequence of events. It's actually 2 separate sequences of events that are being interwoven, which is very confusing again if you don't have the context. Final Fantasy VII, we got that terrorist mission at the beginning. The beginning of the game, in fact, all of the Final Fantasy VII Remake video game covers being in the city of Midgar, and doing all the goings-on in there. Sephiroth is not a part of the Midgar sequence in the original Final Fantasy VII at all, but you hear about him. You hear he's a bad guy. He was a hero. He turned bad. Cloud worked with him. You hear about that. They were first class in Soldier, which was the big Shinra military outfit. They were the cream of the crop. And that Sephiroth somehow has gone evil or something like that. Sequence stuff happens, blah, blah, blah. Sephiroth is shown to have already killed the president of Shinra, and our characters flee the city, blah, 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 in search of Sephiroth. So they leave Midgar, and they take a break in a small town, and the entire party basically demands that Cloud says, how do you know who this Sephiroth's guy is? Tell us what happens. Cloud tells this story, but he tells it as a lie. That Zack guy, not in his story at all. Everything that Zack guy does, Cloud is doing instead. Everything that Cloud does, he does not even mention. He does not even remember. He's mixing a few things up. He combines it all as one story. There is no Zack in the thing. He remembers going to visit his mom. He also remembers talking to Tifa. Tifa does not remember any of this stuff because Cloud is lying. And at the end of it all, he doesn't remember a whole lot. And he
Remember when we
kind
went on
of,
that first date? What?
sort of. His memory is more fuzzy towards the end, but it was a big traumatic thing about, because that's his town that got burned down. Sephiroth burned the entire village down. Sephiroth has this epiphany about how he's genetically descendant from what he believes as the ancient race that ruled this planet. Instead, he's genetically from an alien that tried to invade this planet, but the scientists misinterpreted and thought the alien was the ancient race of people that lived there. I digress. Towards the maybe beginning of the Act 3 of the video game, Cloud goes into a mental breakdown due to the character dying in the story of the video game, and Tifa ends up going to his mind. There's some stuff about that, and it's kind of revealed Cloud isn't necessarily lying. He just does not actually remember the truth, and you see this sequence of events instead. Cloud was just a grunt soldier. He was a dude who was a regular dude with a gun. He couldn't make it into the actual elite stuff. He was never even close. He was a 16-year-old kid. He was not anything cool. He always wanted to be a cool guy, but he's not at all.
He had short hair.
Shorter hair, yeah. He met this cool guy named Zack, who had that giant sword, which Cloud has used throughout the entire video game. And this Zack guy became good friends with Cloud. He tried to encourage him, etc. And this mission that Zack and Sephiroth goes on to, Cloud is just one of the grunt soldiers that is there as a guard to assist. Cloud has kept his helmet on the entire time because he's embarrassed to return home and not be the hero. He's just another guy. And Zack goes on and does all of the things that you see Zack do. Cloud does the things you see Cloud does. At the end of it, when Sephiroth, who actually dies there in the video game, when you see him in the video game itself after this flashback, it's actually genetically recreated from that alien, but Sephiroth's memory through the life stream and blah, blah, blah. The Shinra scientist dude that was in this has taken Zack and Cloud, put him in a big vat of goo, done some experiments. Zack and Cloud break out. Cloud he's just out of it, as you kind of see a bit of it in this thing. Zack basically tries to get them to freedom, and at the end of the PSP game here, Zack has a final stand against a large group of enemies. They all
Final
die.
Fantasy, perhaps.
A Final Fantasy, and Zack dies in the process and gives Cloud his sword and tells him, "You need to carry on for me." Through the trauma of what happened and all the experiments, Cloud remembers Zack's life as his own. So Cloud goes into Midgar and begins Final Fantasy VII thinking he's this cool badass guy, but not getting close to his memories because there's so much trauma and like actual fucked up shit going on in there. And that's the kind of cool reveal that they do. And how does this character then, knowing the truth about himself, go beyond that? So this kind of entire flashback was cool for fans of the game to see in an anime form and not in the small little character models running around in pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff like that. Like that's where the context of why this moment is cool. I will say though, even to my point though, even with all of this context, it's still cooler in the video game. And that's kind of sad.
Oh,
and
wow.
like, you know, this
The
PSP
head canon
game
is cooler than the actual. Not saying
Yes.
head canon, but like the head. You know, like playing those
Yeah,
older
yeah,
games,
yeah.
your brain
Yes.
imagines.
I mean, you're
or
seeing
like
a lot
reading
of
a
low
book,
polygon
right? Like,
guys running around on pre-rendered backgrounds in this. And then, you know, a few years after this movie came out, they did this PSP game, which is about Zack's life, and it ends with him dying, which is one of the few instances of a prequel where you know the dude dies at the end actually still kind of being impactful. They do it so much better here, but even then, they still do it so much better in the original source material where you actually understand what's going on, because they kind of combine both when they first get to that village and the stuff going on there, and then after Sephiroth sets the village ablaze and shit's going down, we don't know what to do, as well as the aftermath of Zack and Cloud running away. It's just a giant confusing mess where even I, who knows what happens, sees one scene end, another scene begin, not realizing it's a different point in time because it takes place in the same location.
I thought honestly the whole thing was one like happens in a week or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and like
And
it
pretty
is, it's like
chronologically
2
for
or
the
3
most part.
days. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Devin, you played Cloud's telling of this story at the beginning of Rebirth.
Yeah.
And that kind of ends with Tifa being like, I don't remember any of this at all. What are you doing? Which is not what she does in the original. She kind of brushes it off, which was, I think, kind of a, I guess, an omission or whatever, an oversight.
Bro, I
type
don't
of
know
thing.
you. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
like,
dog? Damn.
but even with all the
You went to a
context,
different school.
I still feel like this fails at doing the thing. It was cool to see the characters in an anime form because now we're, nowadays fans of this video game are embarrassment of riches where like the remake trilogy, or at least the first 2 games so far, look so beautiful and good. Like that's how those characters always looked in your head and all that stuff. But like when this came out, I can understand being like, holy shit, I've never seen these characters move like this, be animated like this. I've seen them as little guys on my TV. You know what I mean? They didn't even do like Final Fantasy 8 and 9 would have bigger, more polygonal character models because they stopped caring about how many discs the games are going to be on. This game is on 3 discs, and they didn't do 4 discs because they didn't want to spend money on a 4th disc. They didn't care with Final Fantasy 8 and 9. They did more than 3 discs. I can understand
Complain about Battlefield or whatever being like 300 gigabytes, but
yeah,
it has. I guess gaming's always been that way. When you're just gonna have the big boys come and go.
Yeah. And it was a big deal. It was a big marketing thing. Be like, yo, this game is on 3 fucking CDs, man. Like that's a big deal. That's a big video game.
3 albums. That's like
yeah, exactly.
35 songs.
Okay, a lot of them are just live covers from a concert, but that's fine. That's still different material.
And then there's a commentary disc that they included for free.
Yes, exactly. And there's that means more room for liner notes.
Yeah,
exactly. So I will just say, as a super fan, not an ultra fan, but a super fan of 7, knowing even all this context, and knowing that they would retcon certain aspects of it, I wouldn't need to go into details about it. That doesn't matter. I still feel like this was a giant mess anyway. I can understand that it was probably cool to see back in 2005, be like, holy shit. And then you might just have to enjoy it because of that. But I did not really care for this. The only cool thing I will say is that the music, they would eventually use some of that compositions for this game's like battle music, which is neat. The PSP game did use, and it's a different type of music than what 7 had. It's a different character. He's got a different attitude. And like, that was cool. An Easter egg, like a reverse Easter egg for me to be like, oh, that's got
I get that.
But
I like that shit.
That's kind of like the only thing for me. And like, as a huge Sephiroth fan, they didn't even get any of the cool scenes from this fucking flashback.
I'll say at least he stabbed Cloud twice. And then Cloud did do a cool, like, almost classics. I feel like I've seen it in, like, I don't know, Underworld or whatever. I feel like where they pull the sword, they're like pulling them. Fuck it, I'm just gonna go right through it. Like,
so, like that's cool. But they would also do that.
That's actually a reference to the Sephiroth reveal for the Super Smash Brothers. Remember, he killed Mario.
Well, the Smash Brothers
Mario
reveal
pulled himself onto the sword.
Yeah, the Smash Brothers reveal of Sephiroth is a reference to when Advent Children movie does that. And remember, he didn't stab Mario. Looks like that in the silhouette, but it's kind of hanging Mario on his overall.
I know. That's my head.
Because they
should have
wouldn't
did
have allowed
Sonic.
him to kill Mario.
They should have did Sonic and have it so when it's going, every inch is a ring coming out of him from the back. That
Smash Brothers reveal of Sephiroth is awesome, though. I will say, when you have all these video game characters and they're fighting the big bad guy, and Sephiroth's revealed to have instantly cut him in half, and oh shit, he's actually more powerful. There again, he's gaming's Darth Vader. Everyone respects and understands that. But yeah, I didn't like this at all. And I actually was very mad that, like, damn it, I wish this was something else. So, I don't know. Is there any other thoughts we had? I mean, like, there's not much to talk about. It looked nice-ish.
Yeah, it wasn't bad looking.
Yeah. There isn't a lot of action in it because you don't play really any. You don't do any fights in this.
There's actionable
flashback.
words. I mean, there was they jumped around a bit in the little like generator energy room or whatever. So there's that, but I was hoping for more of the action we saw in Advent Children. The only one of the few only good things.
Well, you get that at the end
movie.
of the actual video game again, because this is like the before the game even begins type of stuff too. So I don't know, yeah, but I definitely agree. I definitely agree for what this was. Yeah.
I mean, hey, we've talked longer than the actual things. That's something.
I feel like I alone have talked longer, and that's my biggest sin.
Well, and I feel like in the past, Ethan and I, we'd talk. I feel like, I don't know, because we used to like do the whole plot, and sometimes most times I feel like back in the day we would do episodes longer than the actual thing we were reviewing.
Yeah.
We've gotten better now, so if anything, this is going back to our roots a little bit
by not recapping the movie, especially the Chronicles of Diesel.
I'm saying just length of the episode, but
yeah. Man. Okay. Yeah. Why don't we move on and hop over here to the scoreboard? Yes, folks at home, Devin is going to earn points for this, however many they might be. But hey, what are those points derived from? Tiers? How do those tiers work? To lay it all out for us and to explain how these tiers work, David, I didn't forget. Last episode, I said David was going to do it this time. Devin needs a break. Devin's earned a break for this episode. David, in however long this takes or less, please explain how our tier system works. In 3, 2, 1, begin.
So here on the Sonic Movie Show, we rank these films in a tiered fashion. It's from A to F, but at the very top, if it's even better than an A, you give it an S, because we're fancy like that, and I think it's Japanese or something. I don't know where it comes from. You just give it an S if it's super. So starting from the top, going down, starting with S, it's super. It can't be any better. Although... this is ranked on a video game movie scale. Sorry, I looked down at Ethan laughing at me. Game movies that are in the S tier, even from last season, Gran Turismo and Tetris. Amazing movies. You gotta go watch these movies. You must. A.
You must.
Moving down.
Demanding.
He's an infomercial star already.
These are great movies. They just might not have the special sauce that the S has. Let's see. Professor Layton, that was a wild card that I picked last one. Sonic the Hedgehog, classic here. Uncharted. These are all movies. They did everything right. There was just something a little bit missing, maybe. That little magic director sauce. I don't like how I said that. B, B, we're moving down into, there's some bad here. There's more good than bad, but there is some bad. B for bad, but only a little bit of bad.
B for bad.
You have Dead or Alive, Dragon Quest, Your Story, Five Nights at Freddy's, surprisingly, and then Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in B tier. Moving classically, as Devin says in other episodes, to the okay, I gotta look for Ethan. I won't bring it up. C is where we put most of the movies, and that is because most of the movies that we watch are just fine. They're not great. They're not bad. We don't hate ourselves for watching them, but we're not excited to watch it again, ever. These are we have most movies in here. Max Payne, we always bring up. Classic movie. Corpse Party.
C for classic, I guess.
3 million Resident Evil movies. And then we have a couple Street Fighters in here. It's interesting reading through these. Tekken. And then also Tekken Blood Vengeance. moving down into here it's coming.
He's a late
Here we
night
go.
infomercial host.
D for Downer. Everyone say it with me. D for Downer.
D for Downer.
These are
Downer.
Downer. Okay,
Donald
I was telling the
Trump.
audience. D for Downer is dead on arrival. More bad than good. It's the opposite of A. Opposite of B. Sorry. Thank you, Coach. It's mostly bad. There are some redeeming qualities. We didn't hate ourselves for watching this. Stuff like Assassin's Creed, which I haven't watched, but apparently it was beautiful but extremely boring. And then the same thing for Warcraft, which I also didn't watch, but every time they say it was beautiful but boring. So I'm going to believe them on that. Then we move into E tier. E tier is just bad, bad, bad. Sometimes movies get placed into here that are placed accidentally, and we just haven't had a chance to move it back up into like C or something. But anyways, some of the extremely bad movies that we regretted watching are some Blood Rain, Borderlands, Monster Hunter, Mortal Kombat, King of Fighters. That was about it for E tier. And then, of course, we have F tier. We hope to never place another movie here. Postal is the only one. Don't watch it. It doesn't deserve any more views, torrented or not. It's just downright racist and sexist. I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I'm just taking guesses based on what I've heard from them. But don't watch it.
Okay.
Scene.
Well, thank you, David. And each of those tiers give points. It's a very simple spread here, as you can see. This movie, unfortunately, was not counterpicked because maybe that would have scored some points. But so you can ignore that column. But 6 through 0 is what Devin could be working with today. Could be earning some of these this episode. So now we go around. You've heard us, each of us, give our thoughts about this film. And now we're here to pitch what tier we each think this film belongs into. And then we generally come to a consensus. They tend to be close to each other anyway, makes it easy. At the very least, a majority rule with some understanding amongst the competitors is what gives points. So, Devin, you picked this one. You drafted this. You get to make your pitch first. What's it going to be?
It's not a pitch. It is not a pitch, dude. I mean, as much as the competitive part of me wanted to take Ethan and David's offer off recording of getting a new movie because, you know, maybe it'll be more points. There's no guarantee of that because some of them were. I mean, I did see Sin the movie, and I'm like, oh, that could be kind of funny. Just sounds crazy. Maybe it is better, but I really don't know. But in any case, I want to just keep with the system. I drafted it. I gotta stick with my decision. I have to own up to my decision. It's a bad one because this movie, or whatever it is, an episode on Sunday Cartoon Network or whatever. It's whatever. I mean, it's not necessarily bad, like the category of E, but it also isn't D. I feel like there's no. I mean, there's like one good thing in the action, like with Sephiroth stabbing Cloud. I'm like, that's cool, but I just don't care. I and I think it's just forgettable. But like, I'm kind of taking. Honestly, I took Ethan's word because he is the super fan of the group, and like I wanted to see what he had to say to see if maybe it's a D. I'll be shocked if Ethan goes higher than that. We'll see what he says. But as much as I don't want it to be for my first overall pick, because this is not a good start. It's not a good start, but I think this is an E, and I think just not because it's bad, but because it's just.
As David had said, E is bad.
Bad. Everyone's forgetting it. No one wants to think about Last Order. Bad.
David, what do you think?
Bad. I'm sorry to do it to you, Devin. I feel bad, but it's bad, bad, bad. E.
Okay. I'm also gonna say E. I don't think it did a good job at showing this moment justice. I think it tried to be a little bit too clever in how it was going to stitch the sequence together to make it seem intriguing. If anything, I think it hindered the experience because this was for fans. This is a bonus feature, a part of another thing that was for fans. They know how the sequence of events goes, and I feel like, at least for me, I would rather have seen this animated out in sequence as it is meant to be portrayed. I thought it was kind of terrible, if I'm not being honest. My only redeeming thing about it is, again, I'm sure it was cool in 2005 to have seen these characters like this officially, you know what I mean? Not someone just drawing it themselves. That's the only thing I can give it, but like that's not enough to get it out of E territory for me. So I feel like we are in agreement here. This is an E tier film, which means Devin is earning 1 point, but maybe some more. Maybe?
Maybe.
Can you explain what I mean by that, Devin?
As folks can see in the bottom left and in the middle there, I don't have it yet, but maybe I won't get any. We'll see. Is not double digits. Sorry, decimals. You have a point. You know, Ethan has 4.82, and you're like, wait, I thought all these rankings just get flat scores, and you're right. But how we get these extra decimals, which act as almost tiebreakers, we have a fun little thing where we go on Rotten Tomatoes and the website.com, and we look at the audience score, not the critic score, the audience score, because we like to see, like, do our opinions match up with other folks, or sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. It's just cool to see, and then we read some of the reviews as well. But yeah, this is just a way to add a potential tiebreaker and also just reward whoever drafts it, or maybe not reward, but but sometimes you get extra points for picking a strong pick that both you and the general audiences liked. A great example is David last year with probably the highest score we'll ever see. Was his first ever pick, which was Gran Turismo, which got an S rank and then had a 98% Rotten Tomato score. So he got a 0.98. So whatever the number is, the decimal points gets moved over. So yeah, basically it's a way to get some extra points and also add to a tiebreaker, and it's just a fun little thing we do.
Okay.
So with all that said, I didn't think I'd get one, honestly. Not with when we were talking about earlier it being a bonus feature. I'm like, oh, it's definitely not getting a Rotten Tomatoes one. If some of these movies we've seen, Ethan has a history, I feel like a streak almost, of getting them.
I have like 5,
no matter what
like.
it is. I was shocked to see that this does in fact have a Rotten Tomatoes score. So I'm happy, despite the E rating, I'm at least taking some extra points for the road for what is just 1 point. But those, like we've mentioned, those decimal points add up. Sometimes when you get 5, even if it's all in 30s or whatever, all of a sudden you get extra 2 points. That could be the difference. We've seen it come down to the wire last season and the year before that. So do you guys want to make any guesses? I'll say there's 10,000 ratings, which is crazy.
Shit.
Whoa.
So here's my honest guess. I bet this has a high rating because I bet people are like, oh shit, yeah. I don't think it's going to be like 80. I'm going to say 59. Higher than what we would have expected, I guess.
It's a good point because like people know what this was. They're not expecting this to be a movie. They were expecting to watch a cutscene. I'm gonna say off of that. What did you say? 58?
59.
59. I'm gonna say 60.
Okay.
There's no extra points, and we don't have another game. But maybe next, since we love game shows, we can have 3 game shows in one episode in the future. Maybe one day. But that requires some work. But the number is, Ethan had the right idea with higher, and it's actually way higher.
Whoa.
84.
Really?
Whoa.
Wow.
So I'm like,
You're
you know
almost
what?
doubling your score.
I wanted a D. I'll take this. This is some
Holy
level
cow,
of
that's huge.
That's kind
some
of
level
close
of,
to a D. Wow.
getting
That's
close to
actually
time,
huge for
David.
you.
Yeah. So I feel a little bit better. Still would have loved a D and the .84 to get kind of like a stealing a C almost out of it, but considering how forgettable or bad it was, I'll take an almost D, I
Wow.
guess, out of it.
So that brings you to less than a point away from Ethan then? Right?
Yes, he brings him to
Which is
3.84.
crazy.
I'm sitting at 4.82.
I'll
Now,
take
Devin's
that,
prior
considering-
2 points came from the fact that
Came
he
from the-
counterpicked Doom Annihilation, which was a smart pick for him. So
We'll
that's
know
how
once
we've
we get
gotten
through
here.
Red Faction. The scores are going to be a little funky till Red Faction, then we'll have a break for the next two, and then it gets crazy. That sixth tier, I
That'll be
cannot
dicey.
wait to see how that falls, because you guys get rid of your Uwe Boll films. I left mine for last, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be. I'm really curious. Long season. I can't. It just sucks that in the first pick, I feel like you got to get C or higher typically. But I think, like I said, also though, I think this is the most random crapshoot of films. We have no prior inclination about how these are gonna go. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was Last Order Final Fantasy VII. If you enjoyed this, I'm sorry. But we're gonna do better next time.
Oh, hold on. I wanted to. I'll just read one.
Right. Go. No, read a few. I want to hear what the fans say about this. I'm actually very curious.
The last review is from it's giving me random ones, but this one's from 2013, but this one's from 2020.
Okay.
Probably the only, and this is actually a crazy opinion considering we've watched other Final Fantasy movies. Probably the only Final Fantasy movie that is flawless, short but amazing. Story of Zack and the origins of Final Fantasy VII. 5 stars.
Wow.
2013. We're gonna go back. So before Final Fantasy VII, I think this is kind of a remake. Let's see if this provides any ideas here. A great compliment to the story of a great game. The animation could use a bit of effort, and the music is overly forgettable. I think that's fair too. But the outcome is satisfying for any Final Fantasy fan. And there's the problem. If not a fan, this isn't for you.
Well,
I think you're even
that was
lower on that
basically
too
it.
than Ethan, but
Yeah.
that was kind of my opinion, I guess. Good OVA, too bad there's not enough of it. One of the best anime from a video game done right. I wish Square Enix would do a series. That would be great. 2013. Don't worry, kid. You just gotta wait like 10 more years and you'll have a new game to play.
Yeah.
Now that was a good anime.
Damn.
Wow.
Not needed. It kind of ruins the game. There's a negative one.
It's a lot of people that just aren't reconciling the fact that they know the fucking story. You know what I mean? If you don't know the story, you don't know what this is at all. By the way, I wanted to point out this copy of Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, the prequel PSP game about Zack, belonged to a mutual friend of the three of us. His name was Colin. I think still is, maybe.
Colin.
Oh, wow.
This is his copy. Him and I both let each other borrow a game, and then we never gave him back. I ended up walking away with the one that's worth more money, so I'm sorry. But I had never played it before he
Sorry,
let me
Colin.
borrow it, and I enjoy it. And they
Can I just point
they did
out
a remake of it, a remaster of it on consoles a couple years ago.
I forgot to mention too with the whole Dino Crisis, the fact that it has Crisis in the title.
Yeah, and then PlayStation, I have more things to hold up
Right.
than you, so don't get at me, bro. If I need to start holding up like one of these, whatever.
Well, I'm about to be holding up something else very shortly here. So
Yeah,
I have a camera cap.
a big hefty weight of shame. All right, so would like to thank. That's pretty cool. Like to
my
thank.
Spawn werewolf, which I didn't realize was Spawn until I asked my dad. I'm like, oh, now that you say that.
Here's a Vita. Some people liked it. Thank you, folks, for watching this episode. I appreciate each and every one of you, but we're not done. Of course we're not done. We will never be done. This goes on forever because it's time for everyone's new favorite game show, wait, how many discs? Here's the thing. Final Fantasy VII was on 3 PlayStation 1 CDs. These nice, beautiful, beautiful discs that the back of them are solid black. Beautiful things. But Final Fantasy VII wasn't the only game that came out on multiple discs.
Someone said beautiful?
God.
That's some beautiful hardware right here.
He's back.
If by beautiful hardware you're talking about something that's not on your camera feed, then sure, I'd like to know what that would be, but...
Oh, you're talking about between my...
Sure.
Oh my God.
Sure, whatever. Okay, so since Devin thinks that he's some sort of hotshot, let's make him actually go through a gauntlet of hotshot-like topics. David is going to also participate as the current champion of this season. Here is how this game show will go. I have, for the two of you, 13 PlayStation 1 games. Each of these games is on multiple PlayStation 1 discs, numbering ranging from 2 to 5. There is no 6 or more PS1 disc game. Okay? Very simple. I'm going to ask one of you. You're going to say how many you think it is. I'm going to ask the other person. They're going to give the same number. We're going to go down the entire list before I reveal the actual answers.
Whoa.
Okay? You guys are going to have points,
Crazy.
and you're not going to know what your points are until we get to the total. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
It doesn't really matter who goes first, because I'm going to allow you to say the same answer if you choose. I will say this. If you both answer the same thing every single time, neither of you will win, because that's collusion.
He's going to be mad.
And then that's a loss for Devin, because he's in David's in the lead. Okay? And David, if you do it, I'm going to fuck you over next time. Okay, ready? That being said,
Finally,
Devin gets to go first because he is not in the lead right now. He is not the leading champion for this season.
I would like to kick off. I don't want to, in case he tries to tie, he tries to stalemate on purpose. So I'd like to kick off to him.
Fair enough. That's a pretty good strategy.
That's
David,
fine, I'll take it.
Here is our first video game. Resident Evil 2.
For some reason, I thought these were all going to be Final Fantasy, so it really threw me off when you
No, it's a
said
PS1
Resident
game.
Evil. Resident Evil 2, you said?
Yeah.
That's one
It's
with
pretty
Leon
early. I'm
Kennedy.
going to go early on. They probably kept it nice and simple. I'm going 2 discs.
Okay. Devin?
So my dad had Resident Evil on the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not remember how many discs there is. So I'm like really trying to unlock in my brain how many discs there was. David said 2, and I was going to say that.
Of course you
But
were.
since he was definitely going to tie it up
Following
to force.
the
He was
champion's
basically going to tie it up to force me to lose. And now he doesn't have that opportunity. I could do that, but I'm playing to win. I'm playing to be different. I'm the underdog. I'm built different. I'm gonna say 1 disc. I think we're overthinking this. I think it was just a solid 1 disc for the.
Are you gonna lock
Resident
in
Evil 2.
1 disc? After I told you the answers range from 2 to 5.
Oh, sorry, I missed that point.
I was going to say,
then
I was like, wait, is there a 1?
No.
One is bonus features, and it's usually
Right,
on Blu-ray,
yeah.
not 4K.
1 plus 1, you meant.
Yeah, 1 real disc and 1 was a download disc. So I really meant 2. I guess I'll go 2. So I don't think it's 3.
Okay. All right, David, our next game. Riven, the sequel to Myst.
What?
Which is it's the
I've
sequel.
never
to
even
Myst.
heard this.
It's
Is that the full title, by the way?
yes,
'Cause
yes.
that's
both
that's
Myst
awesome.
and Riven, the sequel to Myst, are
Shrek
great,
2,
great
the
games.
sequel to Shrek.
Myst was a very, very, very famous computer game.
Okay.
You would not like it, David. Nor would you like Riven, the sequel to Myst.
No, noted. I'm gonna say 2.
Okay, David says 2. Once more. Devin, Riven, the sequel to Myst.
Yeah. There's a strategy here. If you just keep doing 2, the averages might even out. But I'm going to say said it was a computer game. I'm gonna say 4. I don't know. My heart's just telling me that it's a sequel. Maybe the first one had 2, and they're like, it's a sequel. It's bigger. It's badder. It's 4.
It's 2 more discs.
2 more discs. 2 more content. 2 more discs of content.
David, game number 3, Lunar 2, Eternal Blue Complete. How many discs?
Complete. Whoa. If it's complete, I think it's got to go up to 3.
Okay. Devin, Lunar 2, Eternal Blue Complete.
What was the max I can go again?
2 to 5 is the range.
There's got to be one with 5 on here, probably.
That's how many. The 5 is the maximum number of discs a PlayStation 1 game has had.
Okay. I'm gonna say 5. He said complete.
Okay.
If you need the complete, you need the whole encyclopedia. You're not just getting chapter 1, chapter 2. You're getting the full book. You're getting the full thing.
Okay.
I'm going crazy.
David, game number 4, Gran Turismo 2.
Sequel to one of the most influential games of all time.
I could see this having a lot. I'm feeling 3 or 4. I'm gonna go 4 on this one.
Okay. 7, GT2.
I remember. I know we did one with how many cars in each Gran Turismo like a year and a half ago,
and polygons,
or whatever it was. Yeah, something like that. And I'm like, how does that equate to discs? I mean, if I had to guess, which is what I'm doing this whole time. I'm gonna say, David, you said 4?
He did.
Yep.
Damn, I was gonna say 4 for 4-wheel drive. But what if it's just 2? What if they're like, we're keeping it simple?
Okay.
I'm gonna say 2 for Gran Turismo 2.
Okay.
2 for 2.
David, game number 5, Fear Effect.
Fear Effect. I've never heard of like half these games.
Is it related to fear?
Effect.
No. This game did have a sequel.
I'm just gonna say DOS.
Okay. David says DOS 2. Devin. Fear Effect.
Fear Effect. That gives me horror vibes. I don't know how big horror games are. But you know what is horror? The number 6. And what do you do to get to 6? You need 2 3s. So I'm going to go 3.
3 2s.
So what's your answer?
3, half of 6, Satan's number.
Okay, well then you said 2, a part of that, and I just want to make sure.
No, David said 2. I said you need 2 of 3.
I just want to make sure that when you lose
me.
this whole thing, you can only blame yourself.
No, I'm not blaming
David. Game number 6, Command and Conquer: Red Alert. A strategy game. A real-time strategy game.
That's what people were saying back then when they installed it.
How many we got left to guess? Is this the last one?
There are 13, and you are on number 6.
Oh, you got plenty. Take some wild guesses. Start doing 5 for each one.
I feel like real-time strategy, it can't be on too many discs, so I'm going to say 2.
Okay. 7.
See, it's not fun if I just keep picking the same thing, but I do think it's 2. Screw it. We'll just take it even on that one. Doesn't matter win or lose.
Okay. Well, you heard it from him first. Doesn't matter win or lose. David, game number 7, Wing Commander 3: Heart of the Tiger. I believe this is another strategy game? Maybe? I'm not actually sure. It could be a flying game. Now that I think about it.
5.
A real-time flying game?
Yeah.
I would hope that they are. Because otherwise, what would that be? Turn-based flight?
I don't know. 3.
Okay. David says 3. Devin, Wing Commander 3: Heart of the Tiger.
4.
Tigers
Number
have 4 hearts.
Wow.
Wow. Canonically. IRL.
No,
Oh.
not canonically. Biology.
Yeah, idiot.
Dumbass.
David. Final Fantasy VIII.
Um,
8 discs, baby. Say it.
They don't go up that high. Although that would be awesome.
5.
Okay. David says 5. Devin?
Yeah, I feel like I remember him saying during our conversation that Final Fantasy VII was 3, and then they didn't want to do that anymore, or was it 4? But I know it was more than whatever the number was, so I'm gonna go 5 on that one. Well, because I think they stopped. I think he said they stopped giving a shit. Quote.
Okay. David? Game number 9. Tokimeki Memorial 2. This is a
What the
dating
hell?
RPG. The dating
Whoa.
RPG
Dating.
for which
So
every
this could
dating
go in
game
either
stems
direction.
from.
This could either be
Oh my god.
low
5.
effort, so they put it on 2
Immediately
discs,
5.
or yeah, it's like we got HD wallpapers included for all your favorite lady friends to put on your screensaver. By the way, we should make screensavers of Champ, because I know fans at home probably want
Sure.
to see what champion every single night.
So David, what's your answer?
I said 5.
Oh, I didn't know if you were...
It's okay.
Okay.
He was
Devin?
guessing 5.
It was a joke, but also serious.
3. I don't know
Okay.
why.
Whoa.
Okay. Devin
1
says
for the
3.
game, 2 for the HD wallpapers
Sure. All right.
and gifs.
David. Game number 10. Chrono Cross. Another Square Enix RPG. Or I guess Squaresoft still at the time.
Chrono Trigger.
Yep, that is
4.
the game that came out before Chrono Cross. You're saying 4?
Yep.
7?
4.
Oh, no original thought over there, huh? Okay.
Copying me. It's whatever. I mean, copy the winner.
Game number 11. Galarians. I have no idea what this game is.
The
3.
what?
But there is a movie about this on our list. Galarians.
Great. Is that calling me a Galarian right now?
Galerians.
Huh. David said 3, right? So
Mm-hmm.
2. I don't know what that is. Doesn't seem like an epic game. I don't need that many discs. You need like 10 discs to get this like fucking HD right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, David. Our penultimate game. You Don't Know Jack.
Classic.
A predecessor
know
to
a
all of the
Jack.
Jackbox games. Just for
Wow,
trivia
I didn't
games.
know they were
I
OG
own
like
all
that.
of all of the
Interesting.
You Don't Know Jack games on Steam. They also had old PC versions.
When
too.
are we playing those?
We
2.
could. There's a sports one. You would live that. It's very dated, I'm sure.
2.
2? Okay. 7?
Interesting. Depends how many. I mean, I feel like the games can't be that complicated. So yeah, I'm gonna say 2.
And our last game, Dragon Quest VII, the
Oh, God.
best-selling PlayStation 1 game in Japan. And Enix's longest Dragon Quest game. David?
I feel like he's trying to bait us into saying 5. I'm gonna say, but it would be such an Ethan thing to do to bait into 5, and it's actually right. 4.
So wait, what you're saying is it's an Ethan
It's
thing
right.
to try to trick you, but also have it be true, so therefore it's not a trick?
It's
So
a
you're
double-
saying
No,
I'm
it's
extremely clever?
It's because
You're
it's
giving
because
me
I'm
the
right
credit
both
of
ways.
extremely clever. Okay.
It's because if it's 5, then you tricked me, but if it's less than 5, then you baited me.
Yeah,
Okay.
now you're putting me in a conundrum because I kind of want to just tie it and just break.
Well,
even
what
on
what
it
was your answer, David?
to not give Ethan? He said 4,
Yeah, 4.
Okay, just making sure.
but now I'm like, do I say 5 because maybe it is 5? Maybe it is the bait, is the real, but then,
I don't know.
or I do 4 and I just break even and we don't have to worry about Ethan getting one on us.
I don't know how many we've had the same answer on. I've not been
That's true.
keeping track.
4. I wanted to say 5. I'm gonna say 4 because I don't need. The commissioner already does things behind the scenes here and to make sure I don't win. So I don't want to at least give him
for
an
high
easy
scores
one here.
Not just winning.
Sure. Okay, so
Just
now that
for the
I
people.
understand that ultimately your enemy is me, I think I can confabulate.
The enemy is whoever is hurting the underdog, all right? Who's stopping him from reaching his success, which is inevitable anyways. So either you're part of the story or you're not. So I kind of give you credit for trying to be part of the story. I get it.
I'm trying to focus right now, so I didn't really hear any of that nonsense. But if you're trying to do anything that promotes yourself at the expense of others, just understand that's not what heroes do, let alone underdogs. I now have your scores all put together. Thank you for your patience and having to deal with maybe some folks that are less than savory. I will say this.
All salty, baby.
You did not tie in terms of
Crimson
points.
chat.
So one person has more points than the other. So we will have a winner. I'm going to go through and give you guys the answers each by each and let you know who wins at the end here.
Thank God there's not a quiz of what games even just were listed.
Well, if I had the names up, that would have been better, but that's a lot of work. Folks at home,
you
that's
get
a lot of
bonus
work.
points if you remember what the next game was.
Yeah.
First one to call it out.
I should have done these in alphabetical order. That would have been funny. I just kind of did these in an order. All right. Our first game was Resident Evil 2. Both David and Devin said 2 discs. That is correct. It is on 2 discs. Our second game, Riven, the sequel to Myst. David said 2 discs. Devin said 4 discs. It's 5 discs, baby, and was only in Japan, unlike that, to my knowledge. Okay. Our third game, an RPG called Lunar 2, Eternal Blue Complete. David said 3. Devin said 5. The answer is 3. David is up 2-1.
It's not complete then. It's not complete. You can't sell it like that.
Sometimes 3 is complete.
Our fourth game, Gran Turismo 2. David said 4 discs. Devin said 2 discs. Devin is correct here. It's 2 discs.
Oh no!
It is now tied 2
accessible.
to 2.
Accessible. That's what makes Gran Turismo great.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think that game had like over 600 cars in it.
Yeah,
it
on
was
2
an insane
discs.
amount. And those were all like Japanese and Korean cars. I don't even think they had American
Shout out to
or
Nissan.
European.
Shout out to Nissan.
Or maybe they did. I don't know. Our fifth game, Fear Effect. David said 2 discs. Devin said 3. You are both wrong. It is 4 discs for Fear Effect. Okay.
Got that
Game
big fear.
number 6, Command and Conquer Red Alert. Both of you said 2 discs, and you're both correct. It is 2 discs.
Nailed
You're now
it.
tied.
Sometimes
3
when we know
to
it,
3.
we know it.
Yeah, we know ball.
Sure. Game number 7 was Wing Commander 3 Heart of the Tiger. David said 3 discs. Devin said 4 discs. One of you's correct. And it's Devin. Devin is now up.
No.
4
Told you,
to
tigers have 4
3.
hearts, dude. I'm telling you.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Our 8th game here, Final Fantasy VIII. You both said 5 discs. You're wrong. It was 4 discs.
Oh.
Okay, dude.
I half wanted to say 4. I was debating.
I did not put Final Fantasy IX on here, but that was also 4 discs. Okay. Our 9th game, Tokimeki Memorial 2. David said 5 discs. Devin said 3 discs. One of you is correct. It's David. David, this game was on 5 discs.
Wow, there's even more HD wallpapers than I
tied
thought.
again.
Oh
4.
my god.
4 to 4.
Crazy.
Okay.
I know there's some ones where we say, so it's probably down to 1, I have a feeling.
Okay. Our game number 10 here, Chrono Cross. Both of you said 4 discs. You're both incorrect. It's 2.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised about. I didn't play Chrono Cross, but maybe it's not that long. Okay. Game number 11, Galarians. We don't know what this game is. David said 3 discs. Devin said 2 discs. One of you is correct. It's David.
Really,
now
3. I feel like
leading.
3 is always a tough one because I feel that's such
I
an
think
odd
that's
number
it.
of discs.
3 discs is how many Final Fantasy VII was. Metal Gear Solid was on 2 discs, but I didn't want to put that up because David knows that. He has a copy of it in his hand.
I also have it.
Yeah, and so do you, Devin. Yeah, I gave both of you a copy of that. That's right. Okay. David is now in the lead, 5-4. I almost said 5-2.
If we answered differently again.
Okay. Our penultimate game was You Don't Know Jack.
This is the one so I think you already won. Yeah.
You both said 2. It is 2. So we're now up 6-5. And our last game, Dragon Quest VII. You both said 4. The answer's 2.
Whoa.
But all the facts I gave was true.
It wasn't Ethan Bait.
All the facts I gave was true. It is the best-selling PS1 game in Japan, and it is like 150 hours or some shit. Like, you spend so much time. You spend hours and hours before you get into a single fight in that game. David wins. 6-5.
Feels good. It's not much you can do. I mean, you're pushing it against an unstoppable force. I don't blame him. There's only so much an underdog can really do.
Well, the thing with unstoppable forces is there's an immovable object, which is my big hardware that I have right here. That's going to stop any chances, and down there, to stop you from winning the whole thing. Remember, last season, I was down. That's where the underdog name came from. I was down early, and I came back to win it. So this is honestly a repeat of last season.
Wishing you
I remember when it was 3. It was like 3-1, and then it was a grind to get back.
And then I didn't get any more points.
Still a comeback. They call him the underdog. They call him the underdog kid, underdog dog, Mr. Champion.
Dog. I would just like to point out
the people's underdog.
Both the underdog and the current leading champion for the season. Not point out that I accidentally had a typo in how many CDs are the PS1 games, when I meant to say these PS1 games.
I also read the font made it look like COS. How many COS are the PS1 games?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Race Sport is that font for the pink text there.
Shout out to Gran Turismo again there.
Yeah. And I like the font there. Kind of makes it look like some CDs. I don't know, for the O's and whatnot. Okay. Thank you all for watching. This has been another episode of the Sonic Movie Show. We're on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Please. Fuck, please. Please. The button's right there. I think that's the button. If you want. Yes, we'll be back for the next film on our draft. Did you see which one it was? It was on the list. It was Forbidden Siren.
Nope.
I had to stall to think about it because I didn't remember. Thank you all for watching once again. Please like and subscribe, etc., etc. We love you.